my aunt convinced me to do the worst thing. She told me that I should 100% divorce my man. Well, I didn't know this, but it was because she wants her daughter to be with him. It gets even crazier. She went and did something so ridiculous. It's repulsive, and I'm going to tell you every single detail. So let's get into it. There's nothing that I hate more than being in the dark or being put into an unsafe situation that can make me lose respect for someone and completely break our trust. My husband knows that, so I have absolutely no idea why he's just done that to me. Now I have apparently overreacted by canceling our vacation while trying to save us. This has led to our marriage being on the line. He's refusing to take accountability for his part in this, while I'm refusing to be blamed. Was I supposed to act ignorant while we were drowning? If my aunt had not told me that we were in financial trouble, I would have never known. I would have continued recklessly spending money on new clothing for a vacation that he would have let me, knowing the man that he is. He has a lot of pride and never wants me to worry about something. But this is not just something. This is the fact that my husband, Carl, is experiencing such horrible financial difficulties that he had to get help from a moneylender. Do you know how bad things have to be for a person to skip the bank and go straight to a moneylender? When my aunt told me she saw him going to her house on multiple occasions, I swore she was a liar. My husband and I have been married for 3 years. We're not really filthy rich, but we live a very comfortable life. We save as much as we can while living a very good life. In fact, we had planned a very expensive trip in a couple of months to celebrate our 3-year wedding anniversary. I'm 28, and I swore that my aunt had seen someone else. Never my husband, but she insisted that she had seen him because the moneylender's apartment was right across from her shop. I told her she was mistaken, but if she saw him there next time, she could send me a picture for proof. At home, I regarded him with a lot of suspicion and watched him a lot more closely. He didn't seem very stressed or money cautious to me. Even when I suggested upgrading our hotel room, he did not break a sweat and told me to go ahead. This further convinced me that he was innocent, but soon my confidence in him wavered. I got a text from my aunt a couple of days later. It was a picture of him and that moneylender speaking. They seemed to be in deep discussion, but honestly, it could have been about anything. I thanked my aunt and told her that I would take care of it. I really wanted to avoid her lecture. But of course, she told me to be careful, that this man does not lead me into my ruin. She told me that it was important to always remain secure in a marriage and never be with a man who is financially destitute. I told her I understood where she was coming from, but I love my husband. If he were in trouble, we could fix it together. Rainy days come and go, but a man of such good character is difficult to find. She asked me if I was sure, if I would feel the same way about him if he did not have a cent to his name. I said, of course I would. The only thing that would make me leave would be deep dishonesty. She told me that she would be there for me no matter what decision I made. And, guys, I begged her not to tell anybody what she saw and to let me handle it. I didn't want her to confront him. It would just make things worse. So that evening, I wanted to ask my husband what was going on so badly, but the cat had my tongue. So this time I observed him more closely and noticed that he was on his phone a lot. Later that evening, when I was sorting out our mail, I found out that he had not paid for his car note that month, which struck me as odd. That night I could not sleep as I turned the matter over and over in my head. I was lying there with my eyes closed but still awake when his phone buzzed. I waited for a moment for him to check it, but he did not, so I tiptoed over to his side of the bed and quickly peeked. A single text from his best friend stood out to me. He had written, "Bro, this better work out for you, or you're ruined." As I was digesting that, he got another text from the loan shark, which simply read, "When can you pay? Make sure it's the full amount instantly." I became very cold, so he told his best friend everything, but not his wife, who he lived with. I was not okay with it, and wanted to shake him awake so he could answer me. Our trip was in less than 3 months, and we were going to use a large chunk of our savings for it. The rest of our money was in a fixed deposit that matured after a year. Maybe this was why he felt that he could not ask me for help. Well, I had to help my husband by lightening his load and then reprimanding him later. I wasted no time and logged into our family laptop and canceled the entire trip. The next day I had to deal with customer support agents, but luckily I got 80% of the money back. Then I returned it to our savings. I hoped that it would be enough to repay the loan, but if it was not enough, I was going to sell some of my own things. When I arrived home, I was prepared to tell my husband the plan, but I found him pacing in the middle of the house, fuming. He asked what on earth had I done. I had ruined everything, apparently, and I asked him what he meant. I had saved us from financial ruin. Now he could repay the moneylender, and we would not be in trouble. He lost his mind on me, asking me if he requested me to do that. I had no right to make that decision without consulting him, and since when did we do that? This upset me because he was the same person keeping secrets from me. I reminded him that he was not so innocent. I showed him the picture of him and the moneylender. To my shock, he burst out laughing and walked away from me. I followed him into our room, and he would not even look at me. When I touched him, he told me to step away before he did something he would regret. After a moment of silence, he asked what had possessed me to have him followed. If I was unsure about something, I just had to ask, not resort to such a stunt. He was deeply disgusted and insulted by what I had done. I told him to thank me for getting us out of this mess, and now he could repay his debt, and we would not have to go on a trip that we could not afford. He simply shook his head and then clapped, saying that I'd solved every single problem of his, and I could tell his tone was sarcastic, but I could not understand why. I was getting visibly upset, and despite my better judgment, I started crying as I told him that I was just trying to help. Why did he trust his best friend with secrets more than me, even though we lived together? It made me feel betrayed. The softness in his voice broke my heart as he reminded me that he took a vow to love and protect me. He would never have promised me that trip if he could not afford it. When it came to money, I did not have to worry, because he's always figured it out. He did not appreciate me invading his privacy instead of asking him directly. He didn't know me to be so suspicious, and he could not stand to be in the same room as me. He felt it was better for him to book himself into a motel so he could cool off. Guys, I was left feeling a lot of emotions. At first, I felt that I had messed up by jumping to conclusions, but then again, where does he get the right to be all high and mighty? He should be thanking me for saving him. I mean, do the technicalities matter? He's been gone since last night and has not messaged me once. I've also not messaged him and have no idea what's going to happen next. Should I swallow my pride and apologize, or double down since he's the one who lied first? Update 1, guys. It's been 2 weeks. Wow, I can't believe my marriage has come to this. I never thought that I would be considering divorce, but here I am. Things are only getting worse by the day, and I'm so regretful. I'm not sure what I regret, canceling that trip or marrying my husband. Lately, I've seen a side of him that I hate. I'm tired of crying myself to sleep every night. My marriage has become so miserable. I find myself thinking about how our days used to be full of laughter and love, but now they're cold. We alternate between silence and shouting, and we're never civil or nice to each other, and the worst part is he's moving out. When he left 2 weeks ago, we did not speak until the second day. He came home, and we just tiptoed around each other, and later that evening at dinner, all hell broke loose when I asked him how much he owed. He shocked me by screaming at me and saying that he did not owe anything. So then I asked why he was meeting with that moneylender, and surely he was up to no good. He told me that I had lost my privilege to ask questions when I betrayed his trust, and I informed him that he was very bold to use the word betray when he was the one keeping secrets. If he laid everything out on the table to me, then maybe we could fix things. He told me he would, but I called him a liar. Either way, I reminded him that I had seen those text messages, which proved that he had a debt. He was welcome to tell the truth, but he should not sprinkle it with some white lies. With this, he rolled his eyes and asked if the money was so important to me. Clearly, I was so scared to be broke, because that was what people say about our marriage. I did not appreciate what he said about my character. I was not that kind of person, and he laughed and asked why I had panicked at the thought of being bankrupt, and had run to fix the problem. Also, why had I been so worried about who he was hanging with? He was making me out to be a shallow person, which I was not having at all. This descended into a horrible argument where we called each other lots of names. Ever since then, we have been arguing or ignoring each other, and most nights he comes home very late, and I've given up asking him where he is. The only time that we're close in proximity to each other is when we're having dinner, and most nights I just leave his food in the microwave. This afternoon he sent me a message saying that he's going to move in with his best friend for now. I asked if I should expect divorce papers, or if we were too broke for that. I know that was a low blow, but I have to know. We never signed a prenup because we never planned to leave each other. But if he's in debt, then I am too. He told me that this childish behavior of mine was exactly why he could not stand to be around me. He told me that he had already packed his things, and I should not go looking for him unless it was an emergency. When I got home, I found most of his clothes gone, which made me break down crying. I couldn't believe that we had come to this. The first person I called was my aunt, and she came over with my cousin. They've been trying to cheer me up, and I felt so drained. Maybe it's better that he's gone. Things were getting so ugly, but why do I miss the old Carl? Where do we go now? I mean, what went wrong? Update 2-3 weeks later. Well, I'm pretty sure my world's turned upside down. Whatever I was going through in the last post is nothing compared to this. That was something small. This is the real deal. Where do I even start? So after my husband left, my therapist encouraged me to take some time for myself. I spent a lot of time with my aunt and my cousin, who were so supportive. I also started speaking to my lawyer about the possibility of a divorce and my options. As this was happening, I found out my cousin had a new love interest in her life. She told me that she had a big crush but was unsure how to take it to the next level. She asked me for help because she was not as confident as I was. It was a great way for me to get my mind off things. So for a while I helped my cousin with this man. It seemed to be working, and one day she tells me that they had a date. I was very excited for her, because at least one person was having a romantic life. Things with Carl had actually gone radio silent and were shrouded in so much uncertainty. I dressed her up for her date and gave her all the pointers. I was with her every step of the way, and my aunt was so grateful to me. Little did I know what was actually happening. Apparently the date went very well, but no one made a move, but they planned to hang out again. A couple of days later, Olivia posted a story of her sitting across from a man with a caption, "You always know how to make me feel special." The next post was a book that apparently he had gifted her. Something about the picture did not sit right with me. I stared at the picture until Olivia showed up at my house, shortly after seeing it. When I asked her about the post, she seemed shocked that I'd seen it. I then asked who the man was and if I could see a picture, but she started giving me the runaround. As she was doing so, I picked up the book that she was given. I caught a whiff of the book and a lingering scent brushed my nose, one that I would never mistake. The next thing, well, the book was lying at Olivia's feet. I told her I would ask her one time, was the man she's dating named Carl? She starts to stutter like a broken engine and says that she was so sorry, but she really liked him. I told her to stay away from him, then kicked her out before I could do something that I would surely regret. When she left, everything just crashed down in my world. I couldn't believe that she had the nerve to actually go and sneak around with my man. We had not even filed for divorce yet. Worst of all, she had been asking me for help with seducing him. How sickening. Of course, I called my aunt to tell her what her daughter has been up to, but she didn't even believe me. She said that I'm probably mistaken. Olivia was young and impressionable. Maybe my husband was the one who made advances toward her. She's just 20 years of age. What did she know about love? I hated disagreeing with my aunt, who's just like a mother to me, but I had to. As our conversation continued, it became abundantly apparent that we had our own versions of events, and I ended up having to hang up the phone with her because things were escalating and I did not want to say things that I would regret. I knew that was not the end of it, and I would not soon see the day, but I would have to speak to her in person to explain my side of the story. On the other hand, I needed to confront my husband. I was so tired that I decided to take a nap before going at it with Carl. I woke up to pandemonium. See, in the couple of hours that I had been asleep, my phone had been blowing up by my family members, asking how I could be so ungrateful to my aunt. Apparently, my marriage was failing so badly that I was blaming it on my innocent cousin. The whole family has been against me for days, and I've been weathering this storm, but an unlikely person came to my defense. My husband. He told everybody that I was innocent in this, and this is not at all what happened. He told them all to stop bothering me, otherwise they would have to answer to him. I did not even get a chance to speak to him throughout the entire ordeal, so it was very weird for him to defend me. We had a long conversation last night, and we really want to find a way through this. He's moving back in soon, and then we will get our marriage counseling. Having him defend me showed me a glimmer of the man that I fell for. I think that I'm ready to hear him out. Update 1 month later. Wow, I'm so shocked. I can't believe something like this happened right under my nose. I'm so disgusted, disappointed. People are not always who you think they are. I don't have much time, so let me get into it. My husband moved back in, and we started going to marriage counseling. He was able to explain to me that my cousin was the one who approached him wanting mentorship, since he was in business. He initially said no because of our situation, but she insisted. They met twice publicly to discuss the mentorship, but both times she was overdressed and flirty. He figured it was an innocent crush and did not give her much attention, but then, after I argued with her mom, she went crying to him. She then tried to make a move, and he rejected it. Shortly after, the slander against me started, which angered him, since he knew the truth. He begged her to tell the truth, but she blocked him. It was very messy, and I did not speak to my aunt for a while. Then one day she reached out to me out of the blue, wanting to make amends. My cousin claimed that she had gotten mixed signals and overreacted. When I reprimanded her, I decided to forgive both of them, because they're the only family that I'm close with. Both my parents passed away a couple of years ago, and they're the only family there for me now. I was still a bit mad at my aunt for leading the smear campaign against me, so I kept her at a distance. I also decided to stop telling her stuff about my marriage, at least so she couldn't use it against me. A couple of weeks went by, and things between me and my husband were awkward, but not as bad as they were before. Then my neighbor confided in me that she thought my husband was seeing another woman. Apparently, she had seen a woman enter the house when I was not there. I just figured it was a colleague or his family member, so I let it slide. But then, one day I forgot something at home and rushed back for it, and as soon as I noticed when I came back home, my aunt's car was parked in the garage. When I looked through the window, she was walking around with a shirt in her hands. I snuck around the corner to get a better view, and soon she entered the house and started cooking. What on earth was she doing? I wanted to watch her for longer, but my time was up. I was getting late for work, so I hurried there, and that evening I casually asked my husband if anything interesting happened. And he said no, so I asked if anybody came by, and he mentioned that my aunt did visit. I left the conversation at that, because I simply did not want to make a big deal of it. When I asked my aunt when she was coming to visit, she told me that she was caught up with her little salon lately, so I asked her to pop in if she was ever on my side of town. But she never mentioned that she had already come by. This was weird. I asked my neighbor to alert me the next time that the car was there, and sure enough, it happened just a week later, maybe even sooner. I went ahead and walked right into my aunt wearing little to nothing, doing goodness knows what to my husband, who was unfortunately unconscious. I couldn't believe my eyes, and before I could even react, she ran away from the house. When I chased her to the car, she pulled out of the driveway and nearly ran me over. I woke my husband up and told him what happened, but he was still groggy. I took him to the hospital, and he's still getting checked out while I'm in the waiting room. I took this chance to update you on everything in real time. I wonder what my husband has to say about it. Clearly he was drugged. What on earth has my aunt been up to? I shiver as I imagine how long she might have been doing this. How far she might have actually gone. Final update, it's been a long time, 2 whole months. Oh boy, so the last update was a wild one, but I do love how the truth always comes to light, no matter how hard you try to hide it. My aunt really thought that she would get away with her evil deed. I shuddered to think, well, what might have happened if I did not walk in that day. According to my husband, she came by twice to check on him. He was not that comfortable having her there, but she'd been at their house a million times. She claimed to have come to check in on him after everything, and offered to take care of some of the house chores. As she was doing so, she spoke about how, if she was younger, he would have probably preferred her, because she could cook so well and clean. At that point, he distanced himself from her, but then she came back the next week, claiming to have left something at the house. She left soon enough, but he said that she was too close for comfort toward him. He wanted to tell me but did not want to start a fight or be accused of something by my aunt. The third time, he told her that he was about to leave for the store, but there she was again, asking if they could have tea together. After he drank the tea, he just passed out. Her daughter's version of events takes over after this. So, according to my cousin, my aunt planned to take some suggestive pictures with my husband and blackmail him into leaving me and being with her. Apparently, she hated the fact that I was in a happy marriage while she and her daughter were alone. That's why she told me about my husband meeting with a money lender. When I told my husband this, he informed me that he was doing business with that man, not borrowing money from him. Outside of money lending, he was actually a skilled architect. My husband and his friend had been wanting to do something together for a while and were paying him for his services. Once that was cleared up, we reconciled and decided to teach them both a lesson. First of all, we told everyone what she had done, from the lies to the drugging. We had proof of it, camera footage of her running out of our house dressed indecently. We got her and her daughter arrested, but her daughter turned against her for a lesser sentence. As punishment, my aunt is to stay far away from us and must spend 6 months in jail. Her business, which is being run by her daughter, has suffered greatly because of her actions, which are well-deserved. Nobody wants to be associated with such a jealous, hateful person. I'm so glad that my husband and I cleared things up, though we could have done it sooner if we had communicated better. I can't believe that we both wanted to be right so much that we did not use our brains. We've been laughing at that stupid thing that we said and did. For example, my husband tells me that my aunt actually told him that I loved money too much. She claimed to know why I had flipped out over the loan and believed I was becoming a gold digger. He said that she had said it shortly after he moved out, when we fought, and that was what made him so distant towards me, because he was no longer sure of my true intentions. I hate that she was able to control us and pit us against each other. We're stronger than that, and we have definitely learned that we need to improve our trust and communication. I mean, what better way than for us to go on a vacation, far away from all the distractions? We've rebooked our vacation and are leaving this weekend. I'm so tired, ready to lay back and relax, away from all the chaos. What have I learned from this? Pride should leave the room when you're dealing with your partner. In addition, you should always give your partner the benefit of the doubt and not just jump to a conclusion. Nothing can shake us after this. We're not leaving each other ever again.